Hello and welcome. You're watching us here on Chartbusters. I'm Mangalam Malu. Joining me today is Sonal Bhutra. It has been a rather volatile first hour of trade, so to say. But the only key takeaway that we have right now is we're maintaining both yesterday's high as well as yesterday's low. And at the same time, the mid-caps are doing well. Let's see where we go.
Oh, yes, we will. But for now, we'll take you through the top headlines and then we'll discuss all the individual stories. The market opens in the green, but the Nifty and the Sensex give up most of its morning gains. Now we are seeing some recovery from the lows. All sectors apart from auto and media trade with losses. Mid-caps, however, continue to outperform and trade with gains of 0.6%.
The latest Nifty rejig will see Adani Enterprises enter the index while Shree Cement will make way. The changes will be effective from 30th of September.
Eicher Motors reports strong Royal Enfield sales in August. On the commercial vehicles business, the management tells CNBC TV 18 that they expect to outperform the market going ahead.
Brokerage house Antique initiates coverage on Patanjali Foods, leading the stock higher as the company expects them to deliver earnings growth of 49% by FY24. They also have a target price of $17.25 on the stock.
TPG sells holdings in Dodla Dairy, sells 40 lakh shares to raise 203 crore rupees, which is lapped up by institutions. The stock is currently higher by 2%.
All right, good time to get in Ashish Khyal for a quick technical check on the market as well. And right now is a great time also because if you've missed the first hour of trade, you're no different from where we closed yesterday, just about 15 points lower on the Nifty with the mid-caps doing well. So could there be any swing in the latter part of today's trading session? Ashish, your thoughts? I mean, so far we maintained both yesterday's high as well as yesterday's low. Where do we go from this consolidation?
Morning Mangalam to you and all the viewers. See, the overall trend for market is range bound. We have seen a huge volatility just 2 or 3 days back when Nifty moved from around 17,200 odd levels towards 17,800 and then consolidating between that. So this can be the phase of volatility cooling off. So I think 17,700 is the upside range, and on the downside 17,460 remains the support level. So in case 17,460 is broken from here, we can expect it to go towards the level of 17,300 on the downside, and 17,700 is going to be a very important resistance. So for now, possibly if I have to form a strategy, I might be selling a strangle in the option. I'm not expecting markets to go in any direction. That's my view for today. But overall, there is some pressure that can build up. Having said that, if you look at the US market, Dow Jones has been collapsing. We can clearly see post the Fed statement, Dow Jones has moved down substantially. Also, dollar index has continued to rally sharply. We can see copper collapsing. So this is not a very, very promising sign. And if Nifty manages to break that 17,460 level, then some pressure can be seen on the overall market. So money is flowing out of emerging markets back to the safe haven. That is what the overall macro picture is looking like over the medium term perspective. And over short term, I think we will be in a range. In a nutshell, I'm keeping a close watch on 17,460 level on the downside. If that is breached, then much lower levels can be seen.
And Ashish, what would your individual technical picks be?
The first stock on the buy side is going to be Siemens. We can clearly see a very strong outperformance here. If you look at the relative ratio chart, this stock has continued to outperform the overall index, and Siemens can be a buy. One can keep a stop loss of 2860 for the target of 3,200 on upside. And the next stock on the buy side is going to be Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, HAL. Again, it's touching the 52-week high, strong momentum, volumes are picking up, bounce back from that 20 days average, and looking like heading towards the level of 2,600. So create long positions here. Stop loss can be 2,320, target is 2,600.
All right, take that point. Thanks a lot, Ashish, for joining in and giving us your views on the index as well as individual stocks. Talking about stocks itself, let's talk about a few ideas that can get you some profit coming in from our colleagues at Money Control Pro. Today, we do have with us Nandish Shah joining with an idea. Nandish.
CCL has been in the business of processing green coffee, and it is one of the largest private green label instant coffee manufacturer with plants in India, Vietnam, and Switzerland. The June 22 quarter saw revenue growth of 56% on the back of 25% volume growth, while the rest came from the back of elevated coffee prices. CCL's Vietnam capex is on track and is likely to be commissioned by March 23 quarter, and it has announced another greenfield facility for spray-dried instant coffee in Andhra Pradesh, which is likely to be commissioned in March 2024. The domestic business in June 22 was 50 crores, of which 70% is branded business. Branded business will continue to witness high attraction on the back of increased distribution coverage. The management expect a 40% growth in the domestic business for FY23. We remain positive on CCL on the back of its cost-efficient business model, expertise in coffee blending, and capacity addition in higher value-added products. CCL has raised its volume guidance from 15 to 17% to 20 to 25% for FY23. It currently trades at a PE multiple of 19 times based on FY24 earnings compared to an average PE multiple of 22 times for the last 5 years. Investors can accumulate this stock at current levels and add on declines.
Nandish, thanks a lot for joining us with all those details. With that, we'll slip into a short break now, but don't go anywhere. Vijay Patel, the Vice President of Morbi Association, will be joining us to give us an outlook on demand and supply for the ceramics industry in general and what is happening with gas prices as well. Stay tuned. Hi, welcome back. Well, as promised, we'll speak to the Morbi Association, India's largest tile manufacturing hub that is, and the cluster will remain closed till 10 September. This is on the back of a slump in demand in the domestic markets. There are gas prices also which continue to pinch the industry as a whole. So joining us now to take some questions on the shutdown and the outlook going forward as well, we have the Vice President of the Morbi Association, Mr. Vijay Patel, joining us now. Mr. Patel, good morning. Thanks a lot for joining us. Well, before I speak to you about the shutdown, because the earlier conversations that I had with you, your association said that the demand is lower, gas availability is an issue. I wanted to understand what is the price differential right now between propane and gas, and how many units in the association or in that cluster have shifted to propane versus gas right now?
Yeah, good morning. Right now, there is 700 units in the Morbi ceramic industries. And because of the demand and supply ratio, we just shut down our all units. And currently, the price variation is very high compared to Gujarat gas and propane. As per gas price, at the 8,700 calorific value, the price is 68, and compared to that calorific value, the propane price is 50 rupees. So there is a very wide difference between Gujarat gas and propane, and that's why the industry faces a lot of issues in the Morbi. So now, next on 10th, we are starting our the industry, but the issue is that the price variation on this two gas is very high. So now we don't know how we survive. So the issue is that propane is a very temporary solution, so that we have to raise the price to survive in the market. But the demand is very less compared to supply. So this is the very bad situation for us, how to increase the price in the ceramic.
Right. Can you give us a sense of, how the prices have moved for both propane as well as natural gas? Because, I mean, since more people are now moving to propane, at some point this differential of 18 rupees will narrow, right?
But 18 rupees is too much, because compared to our the fuel cost, 30% of our total cost is fuel cost. So 18 rupees is a much more difference. So we have to increase the price. And nearly about 30% our manufacturer converted to propane gas. But that is a temporary solution, you know. So anyhow, we have to raise the price in the market. Let's see what happens.
So just generally, I wanted to understand, Mr. Patel, is it easy to shift your source of raw material, that is gas sourcing? You can easily switch back from propane to, say, Gujarat gases sourcing once you think that, okay, prices have come to, similar levels?
No, it's very tough, because you know that the price variation is too much. 18 rupees is too much, so it is very tough to convert into Gujarat case.
Right. Can you give us a sense on exports? Because we've been hearing that the Morbi Association is looking to increase their exports from about 35% right now to almost 50%. What do you think would be the drivers for the same, and how positive are you on the prospects of exports?
Obviously, we have the very good prospects regarding the exports, because China have put the anti-dumping on US and many other American countries and many Europe countries. So we have the hope, because already in Saudi, people put the duty on our products. So we have the future in this American and European country. So we have hope only that way. But in that way also we have the face of the freight. No, container freight is too high. If that will be down, so future will be good for the export.
Just generally, what I wanted to understand is, you will for sure reopen your cluster after 10th of September. That is till when your shutdown has been announced. Or still you're facing big demand issues, and that could actually delay the reopening of the entire cluster?
Yeah, that will be not a delay, because this industry is very tough to shut down, because this is the continuous process. It's very tough to again shut down or extend the date. But the production will be 80%, they will start, or some units will not start, or again some units will be going shut down. So that will process, that otherwise if the up to the demand and supply ratio will be not match, up to that moment we have to face the issue of the market, and regularly we have to shut down, or again we have to restart the company. That process will be there.
Can you give us a sense of how exports have increased for you from the US? I mean, any numbers would be, more useful, because we do understand, and Mr. Kajaria joined us this morning. He said that exports from the China factories to the US have halved. How much has it increased from India to the US and India to other places, and what is it likely to be going forward?
The total turnover is nearly about 40,000 crores of the market cap, and in that nearly our target is 10 to 12,000 crores of this export total turnover. So if that American countries will open, and if the container freight will go on smooth, so nearly 50% we can reach the exports and domestic. So we can survive in that position only.
Okay, so as Magnam said, we spoke to Mr. Kajaria in the morning. He said July and August were very difficult for domestic demand as well. It's too early to say, but are you seeing some offshoots here? Is there a possibility that maybe, yes, as we enter the festive season, there could be better demand in the domestic markets as well? What is the general ground survey telling you?
No, from the ground survey, we are thinking that because of the COVID, the construction activity was stopped, and the tiles laying position is after 2 years of this construction activity. So we hope that because this slack is due to that only. But in future, after Diwali or maybe after January, we hope we get the good market demand, and we can survive easily.
So what happens to the domestic demand then? What we're trying to understand is that from an investing standpoint, a lot of people are banking on higher exports for Morbi being good for large domestic branded players, the likes of Kajaria, Somani, etc. Is there merit to that, or will Morbi continue to compete with these large players despite having increased exports?
No, we can easily compare to this all these big large peoples. We can compare that, because the cost of Morbi is very low compared to that people, and we have the very that directly connected with the market. So it is very easy to compete with this all big players. So we have no worry about the big players. But the thing is that there is no demand. The issue is that otherwise we can survive easily compared to that people.
So last question before we let you go, I also wanted to understand is from Gujarat Gas's perspective, since you said propane is a temporary solution. Since the pricing difference is so much, are you seeing more capacity coming in for propane? And if that does come in, will it become a more of a permanent solution? Is this an energy source or a fuel source that you can use for longer than Gujarat Gas?
Yeah, we have to find out some way the option of the Gujarat Gas. But propane is the right now 200 companies is converted to propane gas in future. 30% more company will convert it to propane. But the propane is the connected with the international market, so there will in future propane will be high. So we have to find some solution, or otherwise Gujarat Gas help us to reduce the price. Because right now they have the long-term contract, so up to 40 lakhs they can give the same price. In more than 45 lakhs, they have to increase the price. So better with if they find some solution for the long contract, then we can survive. Otherwise, we have to find some other sources.
Okay. All right, Mr. Patel, thanks a lot for joining us and giving us all those details. So definitely higher gas prices impacting industries like yourself. And this is something we've been talking about for a long time. High gas prices have touched record high levels across the globe. Time to slip into a short break now. More news and updates follow on the other side. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Well, market continues to be volatile. We have seen a sharp fall from the top, but we'll have to see whether that sustains or not. For now, we'll get you an exclusive story. Sources tell CNBC TV 18 that a number of bids have been received for the minority stake sale in NTPC's green energy arm. My colleague Abhimanyu is joining us to tell us more. Abhimanyu?
Where ArcelorMittal, Brookfield, Canadian Pension Fund, NIF are among the bidders as far as the 13 bids are concerned for NTPC's green energy stake sale. It remains to be seen how these bids will be considered and what will be the amount of stake which will be divested as NTPC Green Energy remains open to raising up to rupees 2,000 crores as equity and remains open to stake sale between 5% to 26%. Also, NTPC is looking forward for listing of various of its subsidiaries, be it NIPCO or NVVN. Also, NTPC is looking at the possibility of selling off its non-core assets, particularly in the fertilizer domain. NTPC, what sources have indicated that NTPC is not going to launch any greenfield coal thermal power plant. However, it's also not going to close down any thermal power plant more than 200 megawatt capacity. It remains to be seen what is going to be the status of the bids for NTPC Green Energy, since the subsidiary of NTPC is looking forward to raise money as part of this exercise.
Okay, Abhimanyu, thanks a lot for joining us. That's an important story. NTPC stock is reacting to that. But let's move on. Lakshman Narasimhan, who recently stepped down as the CEO of Reckitt Benckiser, has been appointed as the new CEO of Starbucks and will join the company from the 1st of October. Mangalam is standing by near that big wall to tell us some interesting insights into this appointment. Mangalam.
Well, it is indeed an interesting appointment because Lakshman Narasimhan has now been appointed the CEO of Starbucks Global. He will succeed, of course, the interim CEO Howard Schultz, who is also the founder of Starbucks from 1st of April 2023. But he joined Starbucks on October 1, 2022 itself. As an incoming CEO, Lakshman Narasimhan was earlier the CEO of Reckitt Benckiser, and we know him for the company that, boosted the sales of Dettol as well as Lysol and Durex as well. He was appointed in September 2019. His key achievement was to navigate the company through the pandemic. Prior to Reckitt, he also held various leadership positions at PepsiCo, and in fact, as an aside, he struck a deal with PepsiCo PepsiCo struck a deal with Starbucks when he was the CEO of PepsiCo Latin America itself. Let's talk about the star's bucks now. He will get a base salary of $1.3 million, cash incentive which would be 200% of this base salary, and a joining bonus of $1.6 million as well. The big challenges and opportunities that he has: one, bringing business back to pre-COVID levels post-COVID, grappling through inflation and rising costs. Worker unionization was underway in Buffalo, New York, so to navigate through that, and higher employee turnover is something that Starbucks will also have to navigate through as well. Competition is rife, and keeping brand Starbucks relevant is something that he'll have to manage while growing presence in other geographies. And will that be including India as well is something that we will have to watch out for. And finally, he cements his place once again in the ever-growing and elite list of global business leaders of Indian origin, the kinds of Sundar Pichai. You have Sandeep Kataria, Arvind Krishnan, Shantanu Narayanan. Of course, he was earlier the CEO of a large global company as a CEO of Indian origin, but he cements that by joining Starbucks as well.
Okay, that is an interesting list. Mangalam, thank you so much for joining us and taking us through all those details. And with that, we'll slip into a break. But as we do that, let's get you some views of the market coming in from Vijay Patel, who's the CIO for Aditya Birla Sun Life AMC. Listen in.
We haven't seen much downgrade to earnings after the first quarter numbers. Earnings growth still remains around in the mid-teens for this fiscal year. And while there have been a few sectors like IT, and some of the sectors where we have seen some amount of downgrades, but overall numbers have been fairly good. And the commentary has been, you've seen some improvement in terms of consumption, which was seen a slowdown last fiscal year. So that is seeing signs of improvement over there.